Okay, students, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to my channel. And mostly for those students who are with me in O levels, now they are going to start their A levels or AS level in physics. So today we are going to talk about some basic difference, or we can say that what is the outline for studying the physics in A levels, because A levels or the pattern of A levels is little bit different from your O levels. So today we are going to discuss about those pattern, those chapters, and those types of papers which are going to be assessed in your final exam for AS and A2. So this orientation is just for the basic knowledge and the paper pattern or the course outline. So today we are going to talk about those papers and those concepts which are related to your physics A levels. So first of all, let's talk about what is the difference between AS and A level. Actually, your A levels is divided into 2 year normally. It depends upon the student. Most of the student just, or we can say that if we are going in normal pattern, so normally student divided its A level into 2 years. First year is AS, is your AS level, and then second year is your A levels, that is also known as A2. So basically there are this is your AS level, and this is the paper pattern on the left hand side for AS level, and on right hand side this is for your A levels, that is the final year of A levels, or we can say it as A2. And now your result is going to be compiled, or your result is going to be composed by these 2 years or the whole papers in AS and A2. Now it is not compulsory that those topics which are included in AS are not going to be included in the paper of A2. This time, let's suppose if you are studying forces, for example, so questions and the concepts related to forces is going to be assessed in your AS, and few concepts were also included in your A2. It means the next year of or the second year of A levels, right? So there is a little bit different, or we can say that now scenario is something different from your O levels. So first of all, let's talk about the paper pattern, that how many papers you have to appear in your final exam and what is the paper pattern. So the very first paper, the same MCQs paper. So your paper one is of MCQs, and this is the updated syllabus, which is valid for 23 to 25, 2023 to 2025. So basically, the first one is the MCQ paper, which is going to be assessed in your AS, that is the first year of your A levels, which consisting of 40 marks. It means there are 40 multiple choice questions, and time is equals to 1 hour 15 minutes. You already know that when we are doing O levels, because in Pakistan mostly P2 got cancelled, but the students who are outside from Pakistan will appear in their final exam of the theory paper, that is P4 for IGCSE, P2 for O levels. But now this time, if we consider all your whole A level, so in your whole A level, this paper one is the most trickiest one paper, because you know that you just need to choose the final answer. They don't know, or they don't consider your working, that what is your working or what are the process you follow before tick marking the right answer. So that's why this is the most trickiest paper in your whole or in your entire A levels. So this is your first paper, that is paper one, which is of 40 marks. And I already mentioned that now your whole result is going to be compiled from your AS and A2. It means it is going to be finalized after 2 years. And one more thing, in your A levels, that is AS, the first year, your grades are going to be into small letters like small a, small b, small c. So your grades are going to be a lot in small letters, because we know that your final result is going to be compiled from your AS and A2. So that's why in your AS, when you got your transcript, so your grade will be in small letters A, B, C, D, right? And secondly, the next paper is P2, which is your theory paper. And in theory paper, you know that you have some leverage to write something or to solve something. So there are number for calculation or writing the main concept according to the marking scheme. So you know that P2 is slightly easier than P1. And also there are total 60 marks, and there will be around 7 questions in your P2, that is in your theory question, right? And it is mentioned that questions are based on AS level. It means those chapters which are included in your AS level. So only those chapters are going to be assessed in your final exam. And this is very important point when we are talking about the A2, then you will find a difference that why they mention this statement that questions are based on AS level. And if you want to see the paper pattern, so this is your P1, normal paper just like the O level, but there is one more difference in this paper that now you already got the formula sheet and the constant sheet, right? This is the whole formula sheet and the constant sheet containing all the constant, all the formula which you are going to be used in your A levels exam, that is P1 or P2. So this time you don't need to memorize all the formula. You don't need to memorize the constant. Your first page is your whole formula sheet and your data sheet. And there are 40 MCQs. So this is paper number 1. And if you observe paper number 2, again in paper number 2, you got the same data sheet, the constants, the formula, which is important for your questions. And let's see how many questions are there. Around 7 questions is going to be included in your P2. Yes. So 7 questions are there, right? Okay. In your O levels, we choose ATP in the alternative option of the practical exams, but now this time you need to appear in your final exam in practicals. It means that practicals are going to be assessed in your college or high school laboratory. So now this time you need to appear in your practical exam also. So basically, practical 3 is completely based, sorry, paper number 3 is completely based on your practical skills. So this is going to be assessed in your school, high school or college lab. So this time you need to appear in your practical. So it means you need to have good practical skills to perform the practical. In O levels, there is an option of alternate to practical, but this time you have no option. So you need to appear in your practical exam. Mostly there are 2 questions. One is for planning type, one is for calculation type question in which you need to plot a graph, in which you need to complete the table of the reading. So these types of questions are going to be included in your paper 3. So these 3 papers are for your AS level, that is your first year of A levels. Now moving towards A2, and one more thing. AS is the most important year because there are 3 papers, and you know that your result is going to be compiled from your 2 years. So if you uh, work hard in your AS level, so then it will be more easy to use score in A2, because mostly student take lightly in AS just like the O levels, but at last they found very difficult in solving past papers because now concepts are different, and few topics and few concepts are new for us in AS that we didn't studied in O levels. So a student take it lightly, and at last near the exam they found very difficult to solving the question. So that's why it is very important to score good in your AS level to get a good grades or compiled grade in after your A2, because A2 consists of only 2 papers. So in your second year of A levels, you need to appear in only 2 papers, and paper 4 is your normal theory paper, just like paper number 2 in AS. And in P4, there are we can say that specific fixed topics. Those questions are going to be asked in your exams. So P4 will be like this. Again, data sheet, and again you got those 7 questions straightforward from one chapter. From each chapter, we can say that So this is your P4. So these are the questions. So all questions are going to be included from your each and every concept which is going to be mentioned in your syllabus. We also discuss those chapters, that which chapters are included in your A2. So basically, this is the lengthy, or we can say that it's a time-taking exam if you consider the time. So in your P2 theory paper in AS, you have 1 hour 15 minutes, but now in P4 you have 2 hours. So it is a lengthy paper because the marks is 100 marks, and previous theory you have 60 marks, right? So now you have 100 marks, and one more important thing is that which I am already talking about is that now your questions are going to be based on your A level syllabus, and few concepts or few material are also going to be asked from your AS level syllabus. Because if we talk about the syllabus pattern, or if we talk about the chapters, so these are the chapters of your AS level. And you know that the kinematic dynamics and work energy type concepts are very common in physics. So that's why these concepts are also going to be include or assessed in your A2. This is whole chapter for A2, right? So that's why in A2 you need to memorize your AS level topics also, or the concept which you already studied in your AS. Why we say that AS is the most important here as compared to your A2, because if you don't get base of the chapters or the concept in AS, so definitely your A2 will also going to be very difficult, or it is very difficult to score marks in A2, because you would again need to study whole AS topics, and then you come to your A2 because most questions are related to the old concepts. So that is a difficult part. So that's why AS is very much important. And if you done good in AS, so A2 will be a very fun for you, because there are questions, 10 questions in your paper, but still they are very interesting because each question is from straightforward to your chapter, and we have to only focus on theory paper because there is no MCQ in A2. So that's a very good option. And the second paper is paper 5, which is completely based on your planning, analysis, and evaluation. Basically, it consists of 30 marks, and again, there are going to be two questions in your P5. And again, it is also mostly based on your practical skills that you already studied in uh, P3 in AS level. But now this paper is completely theory based, we can say that, because you have to solve in your paper. You don't appear in your practical exam. This is not a practical exam. This is your theoretical exam. But the pattern was something different. Pattern will be like this. Let's suppose this is your P5, and this is the time for 1 hour 15 minutes for your P5. And this is the first question. In first question, they mention equation, and they explain you whole scenario that what is actually going to be happen in the diagram, and what is the equation to find the constant, to find the variable. If you remember those students who are in O levels, there is a new question in your ATP question number 4, the planning question. So we can say that these type of questions are going to be included in your P5. So these are the important points which you need to mention. So this is a planning type question that we studied in our O levels, that you need to complete the diagram, then mention all the steps that how we follow the experiment, right? Question number 2 is the easiest one as compared to the question 1, because in this question all values are already mentioned. As you can see, equation is mentioned over here. You just need to find the gradient, y-intercept. Then again, there is a compulsory question for a graph. So the pattern of question 1 and question 2 remains same in P5, right? Situation will be different, but the pattern remains same. So you need to fill all the table, then you need to draw a graph. Then from graph, you need to find all these unknown variables. So this is paper number 5, which is actually based on your planning, analysis, and evaluation. So again, there is no such theory is required because equations are already mentioned, but you need to have good knowledge of all the topics because you need to complete the diagram, you need to write the steps. So that's why it is very important to memorize all the concepts of your AS and A2. So according to the rating, P1 is the difficult one, and then P4 on the second, then P2, then P5. Because P4 contains 10 questions, and this is there are three types of route we can say that if you are going to appear in your A levels. So basically you have three different choices. Normally, if we talk about our normal A levels, so in our normal A levels, we go for the second choice. This is 2-year degree. It means in first year, we studied P1, P2, and P3 as we already discussed. And in the second year of A levels, we only study a P4 and P5. So this is the normal scenario for A levels. Okay, so this is your normal pattern for your A levels, that your A levels is going to be divided into 2 year. First year, your P1, P2, P3, and then in second year, P4 and P5. And mostly student used to do like that. If they used to complete in 1 year, so they need to be appear in their 5 papers in 1 year. That is a very difficult task because we already discussed the concepts that how many constants are there. And you also observe that there is a complete combined grade after your AS and A2. It is also mentioned there are small letters for your AS level, and then in your A2 or in your A levels, then you will get asterisk till E in capital letters, because there is no asterisk in AS because result is going to be compiled after your A2, and these are the chapters which are going to be included in your AS. And in AS, the most important thing is the uncertainties. That is something new concept that we are going to study in our AS. And then we have normal kinematics, dynamics. We already know the concepts of force, density, pressure, work, energy, power, deformation, waves. But this superposition is something different. This particle physics is something new for your AS level, right? And all the other chapters we already know, or we can say that we already have some idea of those chapters because we studied in our O levels. Again, if we talk about A2, so this medical physics is something new topic, astronomy and cosmology, because that's why they added space physics in O levels, because there is a concept of astronomy and cosmology in A2. Then we have capacitance. This is a new concept, thermodynamics. So multiple options are there according to our chapters. So this is the whole scenario for your A levels. So if you are going to be appear in your A levels, so you need to know that you have to study, or you need to work hard in your AS, because that is your base, and if your base is strong, then you will get a good results in your A levels. So thank you so much. And next time we will start with our first topic or first chapter. We can say that for AS, that is uncertainties, right? So next class will be related to our uncertainties topic. Okay, so inshallah we will meet in our next class of AS, and the topic will be uncertainties. Okay, Allah Hafiz, take care.